Abby.
You got my question.
Yeah, I'm not giving you points for that. All right. Hi there.
Hey.
Would you like to give us a presentation?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna stare at you the whole time.
All right, sounds good. We'll have staring contest with each student, and the one that does the best
Gets extra credit.
gets extra credit.
Hey, Miss P, can my question be the pharmacist thing that I asked? Like whether you consider it, can that be my question?
No, it's not. Yay!
Yes.
Great.
How did
I
you
love
in science
this
class?
presentation.
Yes.
Yeah, we could see it.
I love that.
Canceled the call.
Yeah, same. I thought it just hung up.
He just ends the call.
And this is it.
Yeah. That's it. How did you in science class? The answer is you can't cheat in science class. It's impossible.
Dang it.
You're repeating yourself. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, then how'd I get through chemistry?
Okay, so I'll go ahead and start. So just a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Romania, from this city, Bucharest. Went to high school in Omaha, Nebraska. That was a trip. I went to college at Kansas State University, so I did my undergraduate degree there, and then I went to veterinary school, and I also started graduate school about halfway through veterinary school. And I got a PhD in diagnostic medicine and pathobiology, but basically I did swine virology was my area of expertise. So, just a little bit about what it takes to get into vet school, graduate school, college. I think this applies in general to all those things. So grades are the first thing, and then GRE is basically an SAT at the graduate school level. It's not any better than the SAT or ACT. I think it's pretty stupid. It doesn't really test, especially for like a science thing. I don't think there's any science questions on the GRE. So it doesn't really matter. But I guess it just kind of shows that you're willing to take another test. So it's important. And then letters of recommendation. I think this is where you really set yourself apart. If you find a professor or somebody that does something relevant to your field of study, a veterinarian if you're going into vet school, or a scientist if you're going into graduate school for that, and getting a good letter of recommendation showing that you've done stuff during your undergraduate I think they look pretty highly on that. So it's important to keep an open mind during undergrad, talk to your professors, try and get a job in their lab if they have the grant money to support undergraduate students, and usually there's at least a few in every university that have a lot of student workers and a lot of PhD students and postdocs and stuff like that they're always looking for people to help them out in the lab and do the basic stuff. You'll probably start off cleaning stuff, kind of like minimum wage type job, but as you stay in that role and they kind of get to know you a little bit, they'll definitely involve you in more basic laboratory tasks like running PCR or doing cell culture. I think that's how Jess and I started, just doing simple things, some cloning, bacterial cloning. Obviously you're not going to be cloning animals right away, but if you want to get into vet school, I think getting a job in the clinics or a local veterinary clinic, or if there's a vet school in the area, obviously working in there helps you because you get to know all the doctors and stuff they're going to be teaching you. Let me put up with poop. Yeah, animals poop. Everybody poops. There's a lot of poop in veterinary medicine. Some animals poop more than others. Some poop harder than others. But yeah, you're going to have to learn to ignore poop, basically, and animal handling, keeping your wits about you, not panicking when the animal is panicking, especially with, like your cats and pigs are pretty panicky. They scream a lot, even if you are not doing anything to them. If you look at them wrong, they'll scream at you. So, yeah, just learning to deal with that is something good to have before you even go into vet school or graduate school. school. And then kind of know what you're getting into. Obviously, not every school is right for everybody. Looking at stuff, cost, location, that's probably something that you guys are looking at with undergrad if you want to go into college. And then it's kind of the same for graduate school. You have to look at the professors and stuff also. You usually will conduct some sort of interview or get to meet them ahead of time just to know what they're like. And then just kind of pick a trajectory, know what you want to study. If you have an idea for like projects and stuff, it's even better. But yeah, just kind of knowing what you want to do is important. So once you're in veterinary graduate school, I think what a lot of people don't talk about, sure you have to be smart and sure you have to know what you're talking about, but not a lot of people talk about all the extra stuff as far as staying organized, basically maintaining your sanity. I think there's a lot of memes and stuff on the internet about the crazy PhD student or the crazy scientist or professor or whatever, and it's because this stuff is pretty hard, and I've seen a lot of people have like mental breakdowns and stuff in graduate school, and I've seen professors kind of get testy. And I think a lot of them have to deal with some pretty crazy people back in their day when they were getting their PhDs. So it's important to, kind of see through that and just kind of maintain your cool. Make time for yourself, mental health and all that. Have some hobbies that let you kind of unwind and just separate yourself from all the work. Physical exercise is obviously very good. Keep yourself in shape. I don't know how many people I didn't keep in shape during graduate school or veterinary school, but some people did, and I think those people had a better time than I did, but that's definitely something that if I were to do it over, I would try and do that. I'd try a little bit harder to do some physical exercise and stuff like that. Counseling, if when the going gets tough and you need to talk to somebody or, you need more professional help, definitely seek that out. A lot of graduate schools, I know K-State has, because I went to the counselor at K-State during my PhD. They have counselors that you can go and talk to. It's usually free of charge, and you don't need to pay anything, you don't need to have insurance or anything like that. The school just supplies them because they know that these programs are tough and people need the help. And your peers are obviously a great resource. Some people have an easier time with certain things, and you'll have an easier time with other things, and you can help them out. But it's important to ask for help. It's not always obvious to people that you're struggling, or maybe if you're reserved and stuff, it's not always clear that you're having trouble. So don't wait for people to come to you. You can always ask for help, and I think that's a good way to get through things also. And just to remember that, the opportunity to fail. My advisor always told me this, you have to have an opportunity to fail. I think every experiment that I ever did in the lab, whether it be PCR or ELISA or anything like that, the first time I did it, it didn't turn out great. A few of them turned out terribly, and I pretty much always had to redo them after the first time, but, the second time was better, and then the third time was better, and eventually, get proficient at it, and you'll be teaching somebody else how to do it. So, obviously don't kill anybody while you're learning. Don't feel that bad. Rely on your peers and your professor and stuff like that. Ask for help. If you don't know how to do something, don't blow anything up. So now I just want to talk a little bit about the company that I'm at now. Obviously, this is kind of life after graduate school, so assuming you get through everything and finding a job, there's a lot of different opportunities out there, and again, it's good to know ahead of time, what your desired trajectory is. And full disclosure, I didn't know this was going to be my trajectory. I thought I was going to stay in academia when I first started, like med school and PhD and stuff like that. And then I thought I was going to go into industry and work for like a big pharmaceutical company like Pfizer or Bayer or something like that. And then I kind of got into companies like the one I'm at now, which is a contract research organization. So basically we have clients from all different areas. We do a lot of work for the federal government, a lot of work for the Army, and then we do a lot of work for private companies. So basically, they have different products, vaccines, antibiotics that they want us to test, and we kind of design the experiments around that and design the best ways to test them, and then we do the work. And the nice thing about it is that you get to work with a lot of different things. You're not pigeonholed into, only working with viruses or only working with bacteria or only working with vaccines. You get to see a lot of different things, get to do a lot of different projects, get a lot of experience, get to meet a lot of people in the industry. That's really important, is building those connections. So it's definitely a fun area to be in. I've been learning a lot in the year that I've been here. So just a little bit about the company. MRI Global was initially Midwest Research Institute. It was founded after the Second World War, or I guess during the Second World War in 1944, as a non-for-profit. And they emphasized, this regional development. They basically wanted to keep the industrial presence strong after the war ended. They focused on science and technology, governed by an independent board of directors, which is all these fun white guys here that aren't staring at the camera. So yeah, we've done a lot of different things. Like I said, initially they started off, I think they were working on fertilizer. Obviously the Midwest is a big, agricultural presence, so they started out working with fertilizer. Then in the 50s, they designed the coating, the candy coating for M&M's so that they wouldn't melt in your hand. They worked on these crop circles, which is the Kansas City International Airport, and a bunch of different things. They designed the spacesuits for NASA in the 90s, and then in the 2000s and 2010s, we've been working on these mobile labs and these different chemical threat countermeasures, and I've worked on that a little bit. But those are kind of our main areas that we focus on: countering weapons of mass destruction. And weapons of mass destruction vary from chemical to nuclear to biologic, which is my area. Obviously, I deal with the biological threats. Some in vitro diagnostics. So basically, these are just your different tests and assays for different diseases, different exposures to chemicals or radiation or stuff like that. Medical countermeasures, which is what I'm working in. Clinical research support we do not very much of, I don't think. At least I haven't been involved with that. And then again, biological threat detection and all that stuff. So, a big area that the government is always interested in, especially the Army, are emerging diseases. So I like to think of these as kind of like the jungle strikes back disease. You have all your deforestation and encroachment on rainforests and different areas that before didn't have very many people in it. And then you get diseases like Ebola, Zika, chikungunya, West Nile, Lassa fever, and Nipah and Hendra. So these are all BSL-3 and BSL-4, or biosafety level 3 and biosafety level 4 viruses. And there's bacteria too, but nobody cares about bacteria. I'm a virologist, so. So obviously, a lot of these diseases are spread by arthropods, so like mosquitoes, like Zika, chikungunya, West Nile, is spread by mosquitoes of different species. Ebola is spread by bats. Nipah and Hendra is spread by bats. Lassa is spread by rats. So there's all these, this interface between animals and people that spread these zoonotic diseases, is what they're called. So diseases that are spread from most of people are called zoonotic diseases. And that's kind of, the area that I like to focus on, since I'm a veterinarian. I like that interface between animals and people to begin with, and the virology background makes me interested in these diseases. So yeah, zoonotic diseases. Obviously, in order to jump from their natural reservoir, whether that be birds or mosquitoes or rats or bats, they have to mutate those receptor binding proteins to be able to get into human cells. So all these viruses are pretty mutagenic, and a lot of them can can cause fatal disease or pretty severe disease,